Here we go. We're ready to rock. So welcome back to the Choking Hazard podcast. We are joined by our special guest, Professor Marco Costa, fighting out of Yorkdale Martial Arts Body of Four team. And he has a super announcement today because we're actually going to be talking about the Super Series Godai Jiu-Jitsu tournament, which is a Super Series 8 tournament with main events, super fights, all sorts of stuff that's going to be happening throughout the month of March. So here we go, Marco. Take it away.
Hey, thanks, buddy. It's good to see you again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited about it. Great event. I've been putting it together for a little while with a couple of my partners, and it's been challenging. It's my first event, so there's a few learning curves here and there, but it's been awesome. The community has been amazing. We have a lot of support from the other professors, which I think is phenomenal. How the community in Ontario is pretty tight, and as far as like supporting each other with the events. So it's great. I'm super excited. It's an 8-man tournament, purple belts. I think purple belts are amazing. They put on a show every time they compete. They're more aggressive and they put it more on the line sometimes. So it makes for some of the most exciting matches I've watched have been in the purple belt division. So I'm excited for that. It's mostly a lower ranked card, blue belts and purple belts, a lot of purple belts. And I'm okay with that. Just, again, I'm trying to give opportunities to athletes to showcase their skills in a different environment other than the tournaments, and to grow jiu-jitsu in this fashion and give these guys a little bit of shine. You know, some of our better talent in Ontario, give them a bit of shine, and a little bit of, like, you know, individual kind of spotlight. You know, so I remember I have very fond memories of myself when I did a few of these back in the day, you know, long time ago. And Tony Isaacs put on a couple of really good shows, and I was very blessed and fortunate to be a part of those. And it was so exciting for me, and I really enjoy them. And I just want to give that excitement and give that, you know, give that back to some of the local athletes that we have.
Nice. So let's talk about kind of the format you have set up for the 8-man tournament. So what's the rule set? What's the times? How's this tournament going down?
So I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure that all matches are going to be 7 minutes. I want to give them those few extra minutes to see if we can get something to happen. It's going to be OJA rules. We're going to follow the OJA rules. We are sanctioned by Ontario Jiu-Jitsu Association. So it's going to be OJA rules and according to belts as well. So it'll be purple belt OJA rules. It will be a point. It will be points as well, because I want a definite win for the winner, obviously. And so yeah, it's not complicated. The only thing that's different is, you know, the duration of the matches, 7 minutes.
Gotcha. So when you kind of like were looking at the rule format, like what kind of made you decide we're going to stick with like the 7-minute OJA style compared to like going to a different format, or whether it being sub only or ref's decision? Like, what was the thinking in that process?
I have a certain way or certain rule set that I lean towards. But, you know, my partners and I decided that for this first one, we're just going to stick with the OJA rules. Maybe in the future, we'll see. We'll go with a different rule set that I lean towards more. But for the first event, we're just going to stick it to, you know, keep it simple and, you know, stick to the program of the OJA.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about some of the athletes, especially for the tournament. Right. And then I know we got a ton of different super fights happening in that match, but let's just focus on the super fight. The Super Series,
the 8-man tournament,
the 8-man tournament for now. So talk to us about the athletes, some of the matchups that you're like really excited about to see for sure.
Yeah. So the matches were set up where I just paired them up as they were coming in, as the athletes were reaching out to me to compete. They were basically you know, matched up accordingly. Like, you know, if second person came in, third person came in, I didn't want to complicate it. it's pretty much a random draw if you think about it, and I liked it that way. I also tried to, obviously, excuse me, to make every single athlete to be from a different academy and team.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's some same team academies that are willing to compete against one another, even though they're under the same affiliation. But I didn't want to do that, so I just tried to pick guys that were from different teams. So obviously, I had to have a BO4 representative.
Yeah.
So I picked Salik. Anybody that knows Salik, has competed against Salik, knows he's a very tough kid. Durable, great submissions. He's got a killer arm lock. So he's pretty fun to watch. Then I have Sivero, who's always entertaining, and he comes from Salvosa's place, Professor Salvosa.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like the kid. I've seen him compete before. He's pretty decent. And then Andre Greco from Gringos, and he trades out with Janine and Professor Igor. So that group is always game and tough and ready to go. Then Edgar Lopez. Actually, I think he just got his purple belt not too long ago. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But he's been very, very successful at blue belt, from what I understand. And he's Professor PJ's student out of Pure in Hamilton. And I think this might be one of the dark horses because of how successful he's been at blue.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I think he's going to come out and do well. Then I have Adam Gladue and from Armstrong BJJ, and I really want to take Professor Armstrong because he was a late installment, because unfortunately Tim got hurt. I believe it's Tim, right? So he got hurt, and
Tim got hurt.
Yeah. So
okay,
we ended up putting Adam in. So thanks to Professor Armstrong for recommending his athletes. Ratchet Tyagi, he's from Extreme Couture. I think he's done a few super fights under a different banner, and he from what I hear, he should be fun. Dan Carter, he's a purple belt under Greg King, and of course, Ethan Major. Everybody knows Ethan. He's one of the better purple belts in the country. He's very good, and I'm very, very happy to have him on the card. I mean, anybody really has a chance if you think about it. These are all young and very, very good purple belts, and I can't really pick one per se that I favor. I think it's really going to be who has the better game plan and the cardio, because obviously it's going to be 3 matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
In one evening, 7 minutes long. So I think cardio and conditioning is going to have a bit of a play on that as well. So it should be very, very fun, very, very exciting.
Yeah, no, I think what's exciting about this as format as well is, like, again, it's tournament style, right? So it's one match where you move on, the other match you're out. So basically you're running into those individuals that are going to have to come with a good game plan. They're going to have to come with the cardio. They're getting 3 matches no matter what to get to that finals, right? So it's going to make people push the pace. It's going to make the athletes work. And again, it's no holds bars. It's the death match, right? So you want the purple belt series, here you got to go.
Yeah, there will be a championship belt on the line for the tournament.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal, to run either 4-man or 8-man tournaments going forward, and the winner getting a championship belt. And it'll be all kinds of different tournaments. I'll even probably have like a juvenile tournament, for some of the younger teenage kids.
Nice.
We're starting to get some pretty talented kids in Ontario right now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be all over masters. Yeah, I'll just be running ideally 4-man tournaments, because sometimes, like, if you're running like a black belt masters,
mm-hmm.
we don't have enough to fill out maybe an 8-man, say, lightweight, right?
Yeah.
We may have enough for 4,
mm-hmm.
right? And depending on the divisions. So yeah, I want to go all over and just make it fun and exciting and have a different either 2 4-man tournaments or 1 8-man tournament.
Mhm.
So that's the goal, plus super fights.
Yeah. Well, I think like what you said, like when we look at the vast majority of how many purple belts and blue belts that are out there, like it's be easier. I mean, not easier because you're always going to have complications with people getting injured and the card might change. You'll be able to put together an 8-man tournament a little bit easier than, let's say, a black belt 8-man tournament, because whether it's school owners, different obligations, other sports, whatever, right? So anything could happen.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And I think, honestly, not to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. I'm not trying to do that, but it all depends how everything pans out. I think Professor Gringo is running a phenomenal show, and he's just having brown and black belts.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think that's amazing. And he's done 3 great shows so far. And I'm thinking maybe I will be the other end of the spectrum and just get a lot of the lower purples and browns and blues and get them on my card, and then we can bounce back and forth between the 2 cards. I think it'll be great. It'll be good for the community to have the prestigious the events to participate in and to grow and to get better at, and hopefully it will lead, I hope, to getting opportunities in other shows, like maybe across the border or international events. So I think that we got to start somewhere. We got to get these shows going. But and that being said, we really need the community to come out and support these events. We need the fans of jiu-jitsu to come out and support these local events, and because again, it's all about audience and growth, and the only way to grow is to get a lot of eyeballs on these shows, right, on our local shows, and then that's how it's going to grow. So we need it. If you have a nice big audience, and and you're filming the events and you're putting it out on the internet and stuff, and we get more exposure for these athletes, I think it'll be great. I think it'll be awesome.
So, like before, back when we talk about back in the day, like we had the opportunity to watch you compete on, like, I think it was Submission Expo or Submission Series from Tony Isaac before, and like other super fights at like kind of like bravado tournaments and all sorts of stuff that was happening, especially in the 2000s, the early 2010s. But when you look at kind of like from the super fights that you've done or like have been a part of before, what's the kind of the one thing where you'd be like, I don't want my athletes to go through that? Like, again, like we're back then, it was like the Wild West trying to figure things out, right? So now a little more seasoned, a little bit more experience, and like, what are the kind of things that you're looking to bring to this tournament that those athletes won't have to experience?
Honestly, not much different, because I think Tony Isaacs always did a phenomenal job. He's always been organized. Everything ran smoothly.
Oh, he ran a really good tournament.
Yeah, he ran a good event, and he always had some superstar power. I remember GSP coming out to compete, and Fabio Landa I think he matched up with Jeff Johnson, and it was like crazy match. So there was a lot of, I don't think there's a huge difference. I think the only difference now is a lot of the events are being run on platforms, like rings, elevated rings, and also, or like Gringo shows, which is done at the Chinese Cultural Center, which is a very nice setup, for the kind of show he's running. It's a very nice setup. But I think I'm going a little bit more old school with mine. If you think about it, I'm running it in a high school, and it'll have more of a, I wanted to have more of like, I guess, an ADCC feel, in the sense that, I wanted bleachers, and then the matches being down low, and then have bleachers on the sides. And that's more of what I wanted to go with, and my partners wanted to go with. So it's a little bit different than the other shows that are maybe running on boxing rings and platforms or
Yeah,
stages.
no, that'd be fun. No, I think that's, you know what, I think
I think
it
you
bring
get more of that,
Coliseum style like
yeah,
atmosphere.
yeah. I remember that. So it's always fun because it's way more noisy, and when people
Hmm.
cheer and stuff like that, and it almost feels like you're there on the mat itself too, right? So when you're competing, you can hear everything, and
Yeah, you
it's
got to get that
exciting.
little different feel for it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that it will be at the end of the day, as long as the athletes have a good time and have a good experience, and these shows continue to grow, then it'll be good for the community and it'll be good for the athletes. And that's always been my number one thing, is giving the athletes what they need and what they want.
Perfect. So before we kind of go anywhere else, let's talk about the main event. So we got Seiji versus Cody Kent. Let's talk about that. How excited are we to see Seiji back on the main stage competing again? Again, I haven't seen him compete in a long time, so I think this is cool, right? But again, like, he's not stepping up against low competition. Like, Cody Kent knows how to roll, like he knows how to compete. So how excited are we about that? Just the main event itself.
Oh, I think it's a great match. And CJ, he has been active. I know maybe you haven't had a chance to see him compete recently, but he has competed.
Okay, good.
And won a few tournaments here locally. So he's still, a very, very talented black belt and an exciting guy to watch, because he's a finisher. He submits people. So that should be, to see that style versus Cody Kent, from what I understand, is a very gritty guy and athletic, and can move very well, and kind of one of those hard to hold down kind of guys. So from what I understand, so it should be a very exciting. I don't think there's going to be a lot of like slow down, let's test each, just kind of waiting to see kind of thing. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just going to be go until somebody wins. So it should be fire, this one. I think it's a good matchup stylistically, where it's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, for sure.
Are they going for 7 minutes or 10 minutes?
Yeah, 7. Everybody's doing 7.
Everybody's 7. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So on, I don't have the full list in front of me, but at any other super fight matches, are you what's your ones are like the premier ones that people kind of need to see before?
Well, I mean, we do have some of the better, like, purple belt, some of the very, very good purple belt talent in. So the one match that I'm really looking forward to, and that's because these two young men are very good and have a lot of experience, and that's Brandon Hare, who represents our team, against Kyle Spatten from Hensel Gracie, Ottawa. And he's very, very good too. So this purple belt match is like, it's gonna be so good. And I've watched Brandon train recently, and he's looking very, very sharp. And I'm sure that that Kyle is preparing as well. So I think that's one of the matches that stands out to me as probably going to be match of the night. That kind of thing. We also have some really, really big boys. Like, we have some heavyweights, like literally heavyweights. And I have Brandon Wilson from DNA, Dynasty student. I think he just won Euros at Blue.
Okay.
And he's going against Nikita Whitlock, which, from what I understand, as far as like his teammates and trainers and professors go, that this is one of the most athletic big men they've seen. That he's very athletic and
oh boy,
very, very good. So I'm like, oh my, these are two big boys going at it. We're looking at 300 to 180 pounds.
All right, well, it's a good thing they're not on a stage.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep them on the floor.
That, I think we have a few heavyweight matches, but that one stands out as like, oh man, this is gonna be good. Like, just some big man, athletic, who have good skills, a good skill set for their belt rank. Those two are awesome. I think also I'd like to point out that I am having a few juvenile matches, and I think these are very, very good as well. We have Bladen Anderson against Syrup Sanchez from Gringos. I think that's going to be great. And then Rene Gopal against Sanchez. So I think these kids, I just want to give them an opportunity to get up there and do their thing. Juvenile divisions, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. I think it'll be fun. It's always fun to watch the teenagers because they just try so hard. They really try hard. So I'm always going to have juveniles on my card. At least 3 or 4 matches. So that's something that we wanted to implement, and unfortunately it didn't work out this time. But it was very, very challenging for me to try and get female matches. I really wanted to get some female matches, but it was hard. It was hard for me to set that up. I mean, the best black belts just competed at Gringos tournament, which I was there. It was a phenomenal event. Those ladies are amazing, really, really amazing. But I tried. I had a whole bunch of. I did have a bunch of women listed on my list, but they were all weight classes like we're two. So I couldn't match them up because there was too much of a weight difference.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't really do that. So I'm hoping for the next event we can get more female matches. I really want to have a good balance going, from juveniles, women, adults, masters. I do have a few masters matches as well that are going to be a lot of fun. But as far as like the two that stand out the most to me is the purple belt match between Brandon Hare and Kyle Spatten, and the big boy match. I'm looking forward to see that one between Brandon and Nikita. So from what I understand from both parties, it's gonna be awesome. Get out the way.
No, this card sounds awesome. Like I'm getting excited. Just obviously, I'm going to be there. I'll be helping at the emceeing, so I'm super excited about that. You're gonna have to. So everybody listening here is gonna have to listen to me throughout the entire matches, which is great. So it's good for me. I get out there. I get to see all these awesome athletes go at it. So before we kind of wrap it up for today, is there any like sponsorships we want to shout out? Make sure that we get the word out. Make sure we're talking about everybody that's involved.
Yeah, for sure. Guard players, this guy, he's amazing. He's always supporting every single event, and he'll be supporting ours as well. I'm pretty sure Jeff Santos and Flawless Kimonos will be there as well. I just, gonna talk to Jeff this early next week, and hopefully he can be out there. Oh man, it skips my right now, but the Acai. The same Acai company that came to the Godai tournament, they're going to also be at the Godai Super Series. So we'll have that as well going. So yeah, that's about it for now.
Awesome. So
I really hope,
no.
That being said, like this is something I wish something could be done about, more sponsorships for athletes and events, but it's hard to sell because, we're still a sport that is not like as big as the UFC or some of these other sports, right? So but little by little I think we'll keep chipping away, and I hope that we can get more sponsorships as well.
Yeah, I think that's like the big thing when we look at like grappling or jiu-jitsu in general. Like it's slowly bit by bit finding that little bit of snowball effect, right? Where it's kind of like how MMA was, right? Like it's slowly bit by bit, and as it gets more exciting and people get more involved, and the bigger it grows in communities throughout Ontario and Canada, eventually, hopefully, we get to that spot. And obviously, the more eyeballs on it, the better.
Exactly.
And again, that's the only way we do it, right? So it's having events like this, getting the word out, getting athletes involved, talking to our local communities, getting those athletes involved, getting participation. And even if they can't compete, they enjoy with that participation of just watching and building off that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the way, any sport grows, and it's grassroots, right? We need, the local community to come and support these shows, because the more eyeballs or the more people are participating and watching, the quicker these things grow. And I mean, this is my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but say if we were to get on any sports show or any coverage, it may not necessarily be like the big tournaments. I
Mhm.
think it would be more like these events kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the more these events grow, the more eyeballs we get on it, then who knows? We might get some coverage locally for some shows and go from there.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it was starting off slowly, building up from there. So like even like this last weekend, we just had the Toronto Police Roll-a-thon for Sick Kids Hospital. Like that was on the news. So like there's bit by bit, there's going to be
Yeah,
these
these little
evolutions.
yeah, these little things help. They definitely every little bit, every little step, right, will eventually lead to those big moments. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm just trying to do my part.
Yeah, and you know what? But it's also important. So shows like yourself. So, like the Godai tournament, then you got Ace Jiu-Jitsu. Then you also have like Ontario Grappling Association out on the other side. Then they have submission series and like the SOA, and there's all these other different tournaments that are going on now. This is like something that was unheard of, like even 5 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
I wish I
So
had this much going on when we were coming up,
exactly, right? Like,
we were like there's a tournament every month. Like we had like 3 or 4 tournaments a year. So that
I,
it's incredible now, the growth of the sport and where it's at and the evolution. You know, I'm just trying to keep up as much as I can.
No, for sure. I mean, like I remember the days where it was like Jocelyn's was the only tournament in the
The
neighborhood,
whole
right?
year,
A
yeah.
whole year. And then now we got two. Then the Ontario Open came around. And now it's like once every month. And now you're like between two different associations, like, hey, which one do I want to go to? And again, that puts a lot of pressure on coaches too. We're like, oh shit, we got to get our athletes ready. Like that. Like then you got to start picking and choosing. Okay, which ones are we going to?
I try not to get too much into that. I know who I want to work with.
Yeah.
I know who I like to work with. I know who I want to support, but I keep that to myself. I
Yeah,
don't really want
that's
to get
totally
into.
fair.
I'm not getting into that kind of thing, right? I
No, no,
think
no, no.
ultimately, what I say, it's not up to me to decide. It's up to the athletes. They can compete whatever they want. That's it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think the biggest thing is we're trying to build more opportunities for athletes to get out there so they can, again, get on the showcase. And that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
If we're gonna compete globally with the top and get on the top of the rankings, it's about regular competition and opportunities for our best athletes to get what they to get to that level.
Mhm.
So there's so many things going on in our community right now, and even like the national qualifiers coming up.
Oh, yeah. April 1st.
Yeah, man. I've had the privilege, literally, like incredible opportunity to be the national coach, going with the JJIF to the JJIF Worlds, and it's such a phenomenal experience for the athletes, and it's such a well organized event and tournament, and you get to see that yeah, there's a lot of talent in the world besides what we get from the IBJJF,
Mhm.
and that's fine. I'm not IBJJF is still number one as far as the best athletes, the best competitors. But if you go to the JJIF Worlds, the level is really good too, like really, really good. Like to win that medal is very, very hard. To win
Mhm.
that gold medal is hard. So that's incredible, and I'm excited about nationals coming up again, to see who's going to represent Canada in the next World Championships. So I'm excited for that. So you guys out there watching, please support the national tournament. Go there, compete, try to get on the team. Trust me, you will not regret it. It's an incredible, amazing experience. Just talk to anyone that's been on the team before, and they'll tell you it's awesome.
Excellent.
I've never been more proud in my life.
That's awesome. You know what? Like, and
to be a Canadian citizen and to be there and to see the Canadian flag at the top of the podium it's a different vibe and a different excitement than say a IBJJF tournament.
well, I think I speak for many, like Marco, there's been huge, like the gift that you kind of bring to jiu-jitsu, obviously with your knowledge, the dedication, And again, the passion that you bring to the sport, which is just always giving more and more and more. I think the jiu-jitsu community is in your debt for that. And again, with you, with all the other coaches out there as well. So, and like, it's not just you, it's a community of people, right? And you're a part of that though. So I think you should be incredibly proud about that. And again, helping out grow in Ontario and in Canada.
No, I'm just very, very lucky to have been a part of something that that I'm very passionate about, you know, and that's been a part of my pretty much my entire life. And I'm just very, very grateful to have, you know, peers to look up to that are doing amazing work. You know, I'm looking up to these guys because of what they're doing, like George Brito, Professor George, and Professor Gringo, and Tony, and you know, all these other guys running tournaments, Professor Dan Maroney running tournament, Pat Cooligan running his Ottawa tournament, all these guys running amazing tournaments, you know, and I'm privileged to be associated with them, and to be associated with the OJA, and to keep pushing jiu-jitsu. And ultimately it's all about the athletes. I just want to showcase our talent.
I like it. Well, sir, it has been an amazing experience today. Especially, it's been exciting talking about the tournament. I'm super excited about the event. So for everybody listening, remember, it is on March 11th, and it is in St. Paul John II Catholic Secondary School. It's Coliseum style with the bleachers, the whole deal, at 685 Military Trail in Scarborough, Ontario. March 11th, make sure you sign up. If you haven't had a ticket yet, make sure you get on the website. The link will be in the bio. Make sure you hop on there, come up on it. We'll see you there at the event. Marco, anything to say before we take off?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Aaron, to promote my event. And I really, really look forward to seeing the community there cheering on these athletes. Thank you so much. And we'll see you March 11th.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, all right, everybody, see you on the mat.